Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my AFL Women's tipping for round 3. Another pretty good round for me if I just check where I was ranked for the round. Give me 1 second. I was ranked 2067th for the round, which is awfully, I think, similar to my round 2, is it? Yeah, awfully similar to my round 2, in which I was 2000th again. But yeah, doing really well. Another 8 out of 9 round for me. I think I jumped up the rankings, I want to say, from I don't know exactly where I was positioned, and I'll start actually recording that. But I jumped, I think I was 208, 209 or something like that. Now I'm up to 74th. I was at 1.54th, 56th or something. Until Collingwood decided to lose to Gold Coast, which was a little bit of a shock, and that dropped me 20 or so places. But yeah, just a really good tipping round, and it's starting to get to a point in the season where I think we can start tracking the rank and going from there and seeing what goes with that. Will probably be put on the thumbnails, etc. But yeah, just really happy with the rank, and hopefully for another 8 out of 9 or a 9 out of 9, which seems to be the case needed to do really well. I knew going all the favourites last week was gonna sting, because it just happens. So anyway, before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. This one, nope, not that one. That one. That's the screen I wanted. Just getting used to. I changed some of the keys for the hotkeys, so I went to the wrong screen. Anyway, so for the first, for the first game of the round, I don't have it up on my iPad at the moment because I didn't go back and go through it, etc. I still have it up on this on a sticky note at the moment. But North, I picked by 15, as you can see here, obviously, with the margin game, and they won by 9. It was so close to being 15. It was like the last 3 or 4 minutes where they had a 9-point margin. I was just willing them to kick a goal to get that 15, as that would have probably, if we actually look here at the rankings, I would have had 35 margin, right, if they'd won by 15, and 35 margin would have been 46. So that cost me 28 ranks that one game. So, well, Kangaroos only winning by 15. And I know it would have adjusted other people, etc. So you could say just 20 odd ranks or something like that. So I said North by 15. They won by 9. So pretty good tip there, especially because Geelong were, I think, 32% tipped. Richmond I picked by 18. They won by 19. It was like a late behind or something like that made it off. And that was a really good point. In the Saturday, I think I got most of my tips within about 10 or so points. Or that the first 5 or 6 that I got so close. So yeah, I was 1 point off there, so a really good tip there. Adelaide won by, 47 in the end. Had them by 25, so I guess it wasn't the 10 points that I just said. But yeah, another pretty good tip. Just Essendon fell apart after quarter time. It was 21-72 after quarter time. So yeah, just an absolute smashing after quarter time. Melbourne by 42. I had them by 35. So a pretty good tip there. 7 difference. I think they kicked away late, and it probably would have been close to 35 if they didn't kick some late goals. Freo I had by 8, and they won by 13. I think it was pretty close to being 8 points, but I think they might have kicked a late goal or something. There was a couple of late goals, I think, that had this one just off my margin. But yeah, another really good tip, only 5 off there. Port by 8, and what a comeback this was. I was nervous about this game for a while, as Port, yeah, they weren't winning, I think, at 3/4 time, and then they came home with the breeze behind them, and they won by 8 points, and I had them by 7, so another tip that was really close. So 2 1-point tips out, and a 6-pointer, a 7-pointer, so yeah, really good start, and a 5-pointer as well, so really good start. Only game that was really bad was the Adelaide game. Then we come to West Coast versus Carlton. I had Carlton by 21 here. They won by 53. That's just how bad West Coast are. Simple as that. Then we come to the bad tip of the round, and it was Collingwood by 13. They lost by 12. Yeah, they were even at 3/4 time. We wanted what if Gold Coast, if you flip those two around and have the Gold Coast have the last quarter that Collingwood do. Collingwood have the last quarter that Gold Coast do. Then I'm 1 point off there in my tip or something like that. Collingwood kicked 2 goals 9. Gold Coast kicked 5 goals 3. Collingwood had 3 more shots, but lost by 12. That's pretty much the story of the day, or the story of the game, pretty much. And then Brisbane I had by 22. I thought Swans would give a little bit more fight. And I'm pretty sure the Swans, they drew level with them in the... it was 37 to something like 17 in the second half. It was a lot closer in the second half. The first quarter, it was 25 to nothing. Second quarter, 25 to 15. Swans, I think, ended up 4 goals 8, and Brisbane 14 goals 3. So Brisbane were just clinical in front of goal. Seems very awfully similar to the men's result if that was to happen. Swans are very inaccurate in both the men's and women's, and Brisbane seemed very accurate in both the men's and the women's. Anyway, an 8 out of 9 round is still a really good round, and let's move on to the tipping for this round. So you got Melbourne versus Hawthorn tomorrow night, is that? Yeah, tomorrow night. I'm going to go Melbourne. I think Hawthorn are a decent side, but they're like their men's side in being there or thereabouts, but not going to challenge, I don't think, for the top 8. And I think Melbourne are, as we've seen with them, they smoked Western Bulldogs. They smoked, where was it here? What's down here? They smoked GWS, and in round 1, they beat Collingwood. So their lowest win is, I think, by about 40 points. And I think something similar is going to happen here. So I'm going to go Melbourne by 40 points on the dot. If I can get that. There we go. This could be a massive game if Hawthorn decide not to win it. Or if Hawthorn decide to win it. And also, if Hawthorn get close in this game, then my margin is going to blow out. But I think Melbourne, I don't need a 30-point swing in my margin. I mean, more than 30 points. So I'm going to tip Melbourne by 40, just sort of trying to cover off either way. So it's only 30 points at worst. And I do think that Melbourne by 40 is a fair margin. Then you have GWS versus Adelaide. Adelaide's going to win this game, in my opinion. Adelaide, let me just put it down, my tip. So Adelaide, and I think Adelaide's going to win this one pretty convincingly. I think they've been teetering and sort of just not in the first gear, or sorry, not in like 5th gear. They're in sort of like 2nd, 3rd gear. So I think this is one of those games where they just go out and they just blow it apart. So I think Adelaide are going to win this one by 35 points. Carlton against Richmond, and this is an interesting one. Both teams 2-1. Both teams are pretty much level on the ladder. Carlton, if I look here, if I actually go back to this one, Carlton have played the Suns, North, and Eagles, and it was pretty obvious who they won in both those games. And let me just bring up Conti because she plays for Richmond. Richmond have played 2 tough games, and then also GWS. Who do I like better? They both played Adelaide, didn't they? If we look at no, they haven't played Adelaide. They've played different sides. Actually, looking at it here, so who do I like better in this game? How did the Richmond result last week go? How did Richmond last week go? They beat GWS, and we're talking about here. Carlton beat West Coast Eagles. Round 2 again, Richmond played Adelaide, lost by 29. If I was to pick a team, I'm actually going to go for, I think, the upset here with Richmond. A very, very, this is a bold, I think, pick, but I think Richmond are just a better side. Carlton were lucky to get the win over Gold Coast in round 1. And Carlton have also played West Coast, whereas Richmond have played 2 pretty tough teams and also GWS. So I think Richmond are better suited for this game. And I'm going to pick Richmond by 7 points. Then we go, Geelong are going to win this game. Swans are going to win that game. So let's just get them out of the way very quickly. What do we think Geelong's going to beat Port by? 35 points maybe? What do we think Sydney's going to win? That would be really ironic if the Eagles won this game, since I'm just glancing over it. But I think I can use a little bit of my Sydney bias, as well as just the poor performances by West Coast. I mean, they've got a percentage of 34. I think Sydney can click here. I'm going to say Sydney by 38 points. I know, quite a big win, but I don't think Eagles are that competitive this year. And then we come on to this game, and you look at this, and it's Kangas against Brisbane. Brisbane are so accurate, but Kangas have literally just blown away anyone in their path, haven't they? I mean, they beat Geelong, a top 4 favourite. Who do they beat in round 2? They beat Carlton by 60, and then in round 1, they beat St Kilda without really even playing, and Brisbane lost as well a game there. Brisbane have beat Port as well, so Brisbane haven't really had a challenge, to be honest, and the one challenge that they had, they lost against Richmond. So I am gonna go with the underdog again. So North are getting picked again. And I'm gonna pick North by, I think, 8 points. I do think this one will be really, really close, but I do think North will get over the line there. Essendon against Freo. Essendon at their home park. I think Essendon probably get this one done, and I know it's a very, very tight one. I think this round is a lot tighter, as you do have some of the bottom teams playing each other and some of the top teams playing each other, but I do think Essendon get this done by 11 points. Then you get Collingwood against St Kilda, and I think Collingwood are just the better side at the moment. I do think Bree Davies is just waiting for someone to not tag her. I think that's back-to-back weeks. She's been tagged after the 1-3-1 on the opening night. I'm going to go Collingwood here, and I'm going to go Collingwood by, I think, a good 15 points here. I don't think it's going to be that tight. And then you've got this last game, Gold Coast against Western Bulldogs, and I am going to go Gold Coast to win this game. I really like the look of the Gold Coast midfield, just the balance in it with Rowbottom, Whitford and Single at the moment. I really like that balance. And so I just want to check here with what is Single's role? Single had 91, and 100 here, and then you had Drennan and Davies coming in. So you just see that midfield is so strong, and the role is there for Whitford. So I think she'll be fine, for any fantasy people out there. So yeah, I do think Gold Coast win this game. I don't think it will be convincing. I do think that we are going to see a resurgence from Bulldogs at some point, but they just look horrific at this point, and I think Gold Coast midfield is too settled. So I'm going to go Gold Coast by 12 points, as I don't think they'll blow them away. Anyway, that is the video there. If I go back to the main screen, that is the women's tips for round 4. And hopefully I can, as I'll just write below here, my ranking before round 4. So yeah, hopefully I can go up the ranks from 74th, targeting, I think 50th would be a good boost, and then we slowly build up to there. But if we do get those tips right, especially the going against the grain with Richmond and split down the middle with North, if we get that North game right, as well, if we go 9 out of 9 with these tips, I think we will jump into the 30th or so position, just because I am going against some of the favourites, as well as the Bulldogs game, as well as 36%. So there's a lot of tips here that could go wrong, obviously, but I think I just have a feeling that I'm going to do well, but watch that backfire, I guess. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the men's tipping, which will probably be a shorter video given that it's only 2 games. But anyway, we'll get to that one, and I'll see you guys in that video. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.